breakfast in London, then it's lunch in New York. But I must tell you this, tonight it's dinner in Paris. You girls are so mundane in your 9-to-5 jobs, catching your suburban trains, a takeaway coffee in your hand. Some girls work behind a desk in front of a word processor, all day answering emails or flirting with a boss. Breakfast in London, and it's lunch in New York.
All right, we are off. Whew. It's taken a long time to get to this point. Mixed feelings. Hopefully this will go well. It's a hot day. It's maybe just a little after 9:30. Hitting the road, which is okay because I kind of want to miss rush hour traffic and all of that. And that's all right with me. And try and record this with all 3 cameras, at least until I get to the New Jersey Turnpike. That'll be kind of a boring part. And I think I'll wait until I get to New York City. So, my wife went to a baby shower yesterday. I didn't, because I was getting all set to prepare for the trip. And her relatives were all saying, like, why is he going to Nova Scotia? What's in Nova Scotia? What? And my wife really didn't know how to explain it, you know. I mean, she was saying I was going to visit a friend, and they were asking who's this friend, and anyway, she didn't have all the answers. So I feel like I got to explain. 2 stages to this trip. First stage, or first part, I'm going to New England, and I'm going to go to a small town that I used to live in. Haven't been back really since the early 80s. So yeah, it's been quite a while. And this story and everything is going to be kind of weird because all the names that are involved. So the town I'm going to is called Harvard. It's in Massachusetts. It is not Harvard University. Same name, different place. This is a small town north of Worcester, Massachusetts, a little closer to the New Hampshire border. So just want that to be clear. When I say Harvard, I'm not going to Harvard University. I'm going to the town of Harvard. The other weird thing is this will be kind of a fun game. Everyone knows me as Scooter Wolf. I've never really said my real name. And those who know me on Facebook, fellow motovloggers, know my real name. So what's interesting is that my first and last name are the same of 2 cities in Massachusetts. And as you can imagine, that's going to be interesting, if not weird, when I get there. Trust me, it was interesting and weird and frustrating when I lived there because no one believed me. No one believed that that was my name. So here's the contest. If anyone can guess my first and last name, and again, if you know me from Facebook, perhaps even Instagram, you really know who I am, then you can participate. And the prize will be Scooter Wolf t-shirt. How's that? So yes, expect that to be strange when I get there. Surprises, everything. So, okay, let's get that out of the way for clarification. Going to the town of Harvard. I'm going with a person whose first and last name are the same as 2 cities in Massachusetts. It's gonna get weird. It's gonna get weird. But hopefully it's gonna be funny. Okay, so the next stage, I'm going to Nova Scotia. So from this town, Harvard, I'm going to make a Hail Mary run to St. John, New Brunswick, and then from there I'm going to take a ferry to Nova Scotia, and then to one of my best friend's home in Wolfville. And I'll stay there for about a day, and then I'm going to go up to the northern part of the province to ride the Cabot Trail, hopefully. My friend says he's got some other places that I might want to look at. He seemed like, oh, you don't have to go this way. There's other things you can see. They're really interesting. He says they're interesting or more like quaint towns that I would be passing through to get there. So that sounds interesting. I'm curious to see what that's going to be all about. So on and so forth. Whew, still hot. Ooh, what to expect? I have no idea. Bike feels so good right now. I couldn't ask for a better day. The weather's perfect. It's supposed to rain here tomorrow, but not where I am. I don't really think I'm expecting any rain except when I'm going up to St. John, and I think the last time I saw it was like 40% chance. So hopefully it won't get any worse than that. Got my, I don't know if you can see it, my instructions, my directions down here. It's working out fairly well, just as long as I can read it without crashing. Yeah, that's another thing I'm going to be worried about is construction and detours and everything. Downside of not having GPS is none of that is going to be updated. I'm going to have to deal with it when I get there. So we'll see. So I was also on Facebook. The town I'm going to, Harvard, has its own sort of Facebook page, and a lot of my old friends post there, so I've been in contact with them and just getting a sense of the climate of what it's like. The interesting thing about this town, it's old, like Revolutionary War old, maybe even older. And it's small and very quaint. And when I say quaint, when I lived there, the town's selectmen, I'm not sure what they're called, freeholders, the people in charge, deemed it that there would be no commercialism in the town. So there were no, what do you call them? Franchises, commercial entities. There was no McDonald's, no Burger King. The school had no commercial contact with the outside world, meaning like even the scoreboard couldn't have like a Coca-Cola sign on it or anything else like that. It was very old, very, very conservative in that way. And I'm curious to see if it's still that way. I mean, there was no grocery store in the town. There were hardly any restaurants. I don't think there were any restaurants. There were some orchards. The town is known for its apple orchards. It has its Apple Blossom Festival, which is a lot of fun. Generally that's in October, so I'm not going to be able to get to that. It's so quaint. It's like a place where people go to get away from things. And from what I understand, like a lot of writers would come to the town just to write, and no one knew who they were or where they lived unless you were the postmaster. And it was small. Like when I was in school and I moved away like about 3/4 of the way through my sophomore year. If I had stayed to graduate, my graduating class would have been about 60 something kids. Like that's how small it was. everyone knew everyone. And that makes for really good connections, you know, lifelong friendships and everything. How did I get there? Originally, I'm from upstate New York, around Albany. I've lived all over the country, California, Illinois, and that's where I lived before I moved to Harvard. And then back to upstate New York to Syracuse. I went down to Philadelphia for undergraduate school, back to California for graduate school, to Portland, Oregon, which is where my family lives now. Back to Philadelphia to be with my girlfriend, who I married and is now my wife, and we settled in New Jersey. So lots of back and forth, and it was kind of a weird change when I moved from Illinois to Harvard. It was a small town, not that the place where I was coming from was a big town. And I didn't realize it because I was like in 6th grade or so. So what do I know? And I got used to it, you know, just the quaintness and everything. But when we moved to Syracuse, that was a huge difference. My graduating class was 300 and something kids. We had a huge sports program, you know, it was football, lacrosse, basketball, baseball, soccer, swimming, skiing even. It was crazy. And back in Harvard, we had, you know, a basketball team and a soccer team. We played baseball and Little League in the summer. Maybe I think there may have been a golf team. I don't know. Didn't care about it. So that was crazy. It was, you know, shocking when I went to Syracuse. I was like, oh my God, this is like, you know, you saw big high schools like that in movies and TV, and you never really thought they were real until you were living it. So that was interesting. Yep, this came off. That's what I thought. Okay, I'm gonna pull over somewhere and stow that camera away. Not gonna make it. I'm glad I did tie it down. I thought it looked a little weird. Smart move on my part. Save my camera. Seemed to stay relatively in place for the fact that it fell off. Donuts here. Good places I need to pull over and deal with this. Always good to trust your instincts. Okay. So next time I got the camera on, hopefully it will be maybe something interesting on the New Jersey Turnpike, but probably around New York City.
Breakfast in London, and it's lunch in New York. But I must tell you this: tonight it's dinner in Paris. Your girls are so mundane in your 9-to-5 jobs.
Jesus, $15, and I thought it was bad. We're just $5.
In front of a word processor, all the answering emails.